What is up, wrestling fans all over the world? Welcome to the Al100 Wrestling Podcast. And in this podcast, we're going to be covering the top moments of 2019. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Navarro. There's another podcast episode that I've done before this one. It's an introduction to Al100 Wrestling. If you guys haven't watched that, I would definitely recommend y'all do that. Before watching this one or after this one. It's not a big deal, but it definitely runs down the plans that I have set for Al100 Wrestling and how my love for wrestling came to be. Now, what better way to start off the podcast than talking about two superstars that had the year of I, I want to say any superstar has wanted to have, man or woman. Um, Becky Lynch and Kofi Kingston have had one of the best years, in my opinion, so far. Becky Lynch, to name a few accomplishments, she main evented WrestleMania. She's been in the Survivor Series main event. She main evented the TLC in this past year. Also, Extreme Rules. She won the Women's Royal Rumble. She had one of the top storylines of 2019, and her year has been amazing. The same goes for Kofi Kingston. He almost won the men's elimination chamber match. He had his, what I believe, one of the biggest matches in WrestleMania history, and in my opinion, the biggest match of his career at WrestleMania, and he actually won it. He had his definite Kofi Mania moment in 2019, which is something that, no, some superstars or not all superstars can say. Um, Definitely, I'm very happy to see how these two superstars came from 2018 to 2019. Man, and I can't wait to see what they have in store for us in 2020. Now, 2019 was a very good year for face and heel turns, but in my opinion, the heel turns stand out the most to me than the face turns. And these five heel turns were the most surprising and the most deserved heel turns that 2019 had to offer. Io Shirai had one of the most unexpected um, heel turns of 2019. I definitely didn't expect it to come as quick as it did. For those of you who don't remember, she turned heel after she had lost the steel cage match for the women's NXT championship on NXT against Shayna Baszler. She turned on Candice LeRae, and in my opinion, that was very shocking. Yet it was very needed, also for Io Shirai. Um, we all knew she had the aspect of being a good face, but in my opinion, I never thought she would be a great heel, and that's something that I'm very happy to see. Also for Finn Balor, not only with his return to NXT in 2019, I feel like his heel turn was very needed and unexpected. I definitely didn't expect him to turn heel when he did, but at the same time, kudos to Finn. He definitely needed it. I'm definitely very excited to see where his storyline with Johnny Gargano progresses. Um, and yeah, also for Seth Rollins, it was a definite needed heel turn because he was kind of getting stale. In my opinion, there was really no direction for him to go from losing the Universal Championship to not just being like stale after that. This is a definite heel turn that he needed. Um, the one that I least expected to happen was Dakota Kai's when she uh, turned, I was definitely very shocked. But yeah, it finally clicked to me on why she turned heel. Because, in my opinion, I believe she turned heel because within the storyline, she was getting kind of like the short end of the stick, and she always kind of wanted to prove herself that she could run with the big dogs in the women's division of NXT. And when she wasn't included in the War Games match, I feel like she kind of felt like, am I good enough? Am I not good enough? So when she got the opportunity to be in the War Games match, I feel like that's when it clicked inside of her, and she really came out of her shell. Like, you know what? I don't need to prove to anyone that I am good enough to be in this match. Um, I know that I'm the best at what I do, and I'm gonna prove it to you guys. I didn't want to see it the good way, so y'all are not gonna. So now y'all are gonna see me truly shine the bad way, the way that I feel like is gonna be a very great heel turn for Dakota, and I can't wait to see what she has for us in 2020. Now, for Bailey, I feel like this was the heel turn that was a definite need for Bailey's career. Since her days in NXT, she's always been the baby face, you know, the hugger. She's always had that gimmick of where she's everyone's friend, um, gives hugs to people whenever, and I feel like throughout time that was getting a little boring. This was a heel turn that she definitely needed, and at the beginning, she was kind of, you know, not doing so good, but as the year progressed and as she progressed as a heel, I believe that she's been doing a very good job, and I can't wait to see also for her how her heel run progresses in 2020. 2019 was also a year for new brands and I guess developmental brands to say correctly. 2019 was definitely the year of these specific brands like NXT and AEW. Definitely with NXT, with their move to the USA Network. Tommaso and Finn's heel turn, Johnny Gargano finally winning his NXT championship, the Undisputed Era finally being dripped in gold with all four members holding some kind of championship at the same time. Um, the Women's War Games match, that was a definite history making moment for NXT. Um, when NXT also winning most of the Survivor Series pay per view, that making them the top brand of 2019, and Rhea Ripley finally dethroning Shayna Baszler before 2019 was over. Um, to me, that makes NXT run a very good run in 2019, and I'm also can't wait to see how 2020 shapes out for them. I definitely have high hopes. I definitely thinking like, wow, if this was how 2019 was for NXT, I'm looking forward to how 2020 will be for NXT. All right, moving on to the AEW side of this podcast. AEW has had a very good year in 2019 for them starting out. All their pay per views have been, in my opinion, in the 5-star caliber type of pay per views. I've definitely enjoyed all the matches that they've put on. Um, Definitely some very high points also with Chris Jericho becoming the first All Elite Wrestling champion. I thought they would have gone through another route with somebody that's not well known to be their first AEW champion. But hey, Chris Jericho was definitely a good choice as well. SCU, the first ever tag team champions in AEW, was a very good move as well, in my opinion. Um, Riho, even though we haven't seen her very much, I was very surprised with her winning the AEW Women's Championship. I definitely thought Nyla Rose was gonna pull out that win and be the first ever transgender woman to be the AEW Women's Champion. That would have been a very historic moment. But with Rio was a good choice as well. And another point that I really enjoyed was John Moxley's debut in AEW. Um, that was a definite, I guess, known, but I was very happy to see that as well. Um, but yeah, it's been a very good start in AEW. I definitely hope that in 2020 they focus also on their women's division and basically coming up with more individual storylines on their weekly shows. I've definitely been noticing that they do a lot of tag team matches, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just would like to see more of singles storylines progress as well with what they're working on in their tag team division, and their women's division needs something added into it. There's a lot of great female talents in that roster that you know the possibilities are endless. Um, but it's very early on in the year of 2020, and I definitely can't wait to see how they progress in 2020 as well. In 2020, I definitely am expecting to see more superstars to get the spotlight, whether it's in WWE or AEW. And on the NXT side, I have the Forgotten Sons. I have Io Shirai, Dakota Kai, Damian Priest, Keith Lee, and Pete Dunne. I definitely feel like these superstars deserve more of the spotlight in 2020. The Forgotten Sons haven't really, in my opinion, other than the ladder match they competed in at NXT Takeover 25. Other than that, they haven't had very much of a good run on NXT, and I hope that changes in 2020. Io Shirai and Dakota Kai, I definitely hope they've gotten good runs in NXT so far, but I definitely want them to be in very bigger storylines than what they have been in. Um, I hope they both capture the NXT Women's Championship in 2020. Damian Priest, Keith Lee, and Pete Dunne should definitely have title runs of their own. Um, Keith Lee is right now he's in the title picture against what's his name? Roderick Strong. Sorry, Roderick Strong, and I hope he wins that championship. It's definitely a championship that he deserves to win. And Pete Dunne, whether he's moved to the main roster or stays in NXT, I definitely believe that he has a better 2020 than 2019 was. I'm not saying that it was a bad year, but in my opinion, he should be NXT champion in 2020. Now on the Raw side, we have Andrade Cien Almas and the Street Profits, alongside with Liv Morgan, Zelina Vega, Rusev, and Drew McIntyre. All these superstars right now are in good positions coming into 2020, but I definitely want them all to truly shine on their own, whether it is in their own storylines or in tag teams or anything. Definitely think that they deserve it, and yeah. So moving on to SmackDown, I have Dana Brooke, Daniel Bryan, um, King Corbin, Baron Corbin, Sheamus, and Heavy Machinery. Same goes for all these superstars. They started off they've starting off 2020 in the spotlight, and I hope they truly shine as 2020 develops. Dana Brooke obviously needs more TV time, in my opinion. She's obviously deserved it. Same goes for Baron and Daniel. I hope they somehow cross paths in 2020. Sheamus, I'm very stoked for his return. And Heavy Machinery, they need a tag team championship run, in my opinion. So I'm very excited to see what they have to prove in 2020. Now, moving on to the AEW side of the superstars that I definitely think should have a good run in 2020 are John Moxley. I have Hangman Page, Darby Allin, MJP. I have Britt Baker, Pac, and Santana and Ortiz. All these superstars, in my opinion, deserve to have a great 2020. They all deserve, in my opinion, title runs and developing storylines. Definitely for Darby and Britt Baker, along with Pac and Hangman, they all deserve to at least have something. I feel like I haven't seen very much of them in 2019, but 2020 is looking like a good year also for all of them as well. John Moxley is looking like a very good storyline that he has going on with Chris Jericho right now, and I hope, in my opinion, he's probably going to be the next AEW champion, and I'm really hoping to see that alongside with Santana and Ortiz. I definitely see them being tag team champions in this year. And for all these superstars, I just hope that they all have a great 2020, and I hope they are used properly in the promotions that they're in. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for all these superstars to see what they have to show in 2020. Now, the top matches for 2019 that I enjoyed very much, I definitely have them pulled up here. But the ones that really stood out to me the most were the women's elimination chamber match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Andrade versus Finn Balor, Survivor Series, and the whole Survivor Series matches, and the WrestleMania card was actually a very stacked card. I definitely enjoyed every match from that. In my opinion, Becky versus Sasha was the main event of Hell in a Cell. It was the top match of the night, in my opinion. Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon in that ladder match when the premiere of Fox went down. I really enjoyed that match. Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole, their 2 out of 3 falls match was definitely a 5-star caliber match. Alongside with the men's and the women's War Games matches this year, they were very good matches as well. On the AEW side, I also really enjoyed Kenny versus Jericho, the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks in that ladder match for the titles. Hangman versus Chris Jericho to decide the first ever All Elite Wrestling Champion. Cody Rhodes versus Chris Jericho was actually a very good match as well that I enjoyed very much. But the match that stood out to me in all of 2019 was John Moxley versus Kenny Omega. In my opinion, that was the match of the year for both promotions. We definitely got to see John Moxley in his element, and why he's considered one of the most superstars that doesn't fit the mold of what a traditional pro wrestler is, and that's what kind of makes him special, in my opinion. Is his style is very much on the level of his own level, and I can't wait to see what matches are even brought to mind in 2020. If this was 2019. I'm definitely very excited to see what's in store for us in 2020. Well, you guys, that does it for the first ever Al100 Wrestling podcast episode. I definitely enjoyed making it. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to it and tuning in. Definitely leave me your feedback, what you guys thought of this video. Who's your superstars that y'all believe had a great 2019, as well as face turns, heel turns. Which promotion stood out to you, as well as the top match of 2019. I definitely want to hear you got back from you guys. Don't forget to also like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Definitely leave your comments down also on other topic videos that you want me to do. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Al100 Wrestling, and on my personal Instagram, DNS Al100. And I hope to be back here very soon, you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next time.